your feelings. And practically everything in your past was getting you ready for your future. You have to trust the process. Trust the process. Trust the process. Realize that the past does not define you, it prepares you. It doesn't define you, it prepares you. It's a part of a process that everything that you went through was to get you ready for who you are right now. You know more now than you've ever known all the days of your life. You are more prepared now. You're more prepared now. And I'm just going to tell you this. Your failures teach you much more than your successes. You had to go through that. You have to fall to learn how to stand. You have to fall to learn how to walk. It's a part of the process. The process. Joseph's brothers prepared him for Egypt. It didn't feel good when you have your own brothers, you know, to sell you into slavery and plot to kill you and do all of that. But notice how Joseph responded to his brothers in Genesis chapter 50, verse 20 and 21. Joseph said to them, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it all for good. He brought me to this position so I could save the lives of many people. Now don't be afraid. I will continue to take care of you and your children." So he reassured them by speaking kindly to them. And you see, here's what Joseph had to do. Joseph had to remind them that I didn't let how you treated me define me. And he says, I'm not going to treat you the way that you treated me. I'm going to treat you as I have grown to become. So he treated them out of the maturity of who God grew him up to be through all of the negativity and the evil stuff that was plotted against him. He was like Maya Angelou, who said, I wouldn't give nothing for my troubles. Because your troubles help to make you who you are. And I want to say this to you, stop fighting your preparation. Stop fighting what God is using in your life to prepare you for your next level. You've got to always climb up a hill. Every time that you go from one level to another level, you're going to go through crisis. You're going to go through a period of tremendous discomfort. You go from comfort to discomfort to greater comfort. Trust the process. Comfort to discomfort to greater comfort. Every time that God gets ready to take your life to another level, you go through the corridor of transition, which is terribly uncomfortable because it is uncertain. And you're going through this thing, but God has a plan. Trust the process. Stop fighting the preparation. Stop fighting the adversity that God has put on your journey to build the strength that you're going to need to survive on the next level. Because God can't bring you up to the next level if you just let the way that a person look at you ruin the rest of your day. If you let what somebody else said about you, God can't even promote you into a leadership position if you're concerned about the opinions of people. He's got to get you into a place where you know, I don't care whether you like me or not, as long as you respect me, that God has called me to do this, and I'm following what Jesus has called me to do. Even if you attack me, I've got to move on. I've got to move on because I know not everybody is going to like every decision that I make. Not everybody's going to like everything that I do and every direction that I move. But you've got to be confident in God to say, God, I'm going to follow you. And no matter what it costs me, I'm going to follow you, Jesus. I'm going to give you my heart. I'm going to give you my life. I'm going to give you all of my creativity. I'm going to give you everything. So don't fight what God sends in your life to prepare you. Sheep prepared David for the throne. God said, if a man would take this much care with sheep, if he would risk his life and fight a lion, if he would risk his life and fight a bear to protect sheep, what will he do with my people? God says, that's the kind of person that I want. The sheep became his proving ground. The sheep became the thing that showed whether he had the right heart or not. And this is why if you're faithful over that which is least, if you take care of the little money that you got, if you take care of the few people who are in your care, under your stewardship, God will then trust you with more. He'll trust you with more. Just trust the process. Trust the process. Trust the process. Don't despise what God will use to prepare you for what is ahead. Don't despise it. Because you will be tempted to quit when it gets difficult. And when it gets challenging. And when people criticize you. And when the money gets tight. you will be tempted to quit. When you have to jump through various hoops, and when it takes a lot of time and you get frustrated and you're dealing with tests and temptations and trials and all of these things are happening, you'll be tempted to quit, but don't quit. Just remember the truth of James chapter 1 and verse 12. Notice what he says. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those that who love him. The question is this: can you stand to be blessed? Can you stand to be blessed? Can you stand? Can you persevere to be blessed? Can you stand to be blessed? See, some people are saying, bless me, Lord, but you got to be able to stand the blessing. Because here is a spiritual principle that Jesus taught us. Jesus taught us this principle, that blessings come with persecution. Because if you get blessed by God, now somebody's going to look at you and start saying, you know what, she thinks she all that. Blessings come with persecution. People are going to assign wrong motives to you. Blessings come with persecution. The question is, can you stand to be blessed? Can you stand to be criticized? Can you stand to be talked about? Because blessings come with persecution. Blessings come with persecution. Blessings come with another level of trial. It comes, if you got to be blessed to be a mother, it comes with the trial of having to get up in the night. And that baby is always on your lap. And when they get to a place where they're no longer on your lap, they're on your heart. Can you stand to be blessed? Can you stand to be blessed? If you're blessed with a business, it's a blessing to be able to have a business, but there comes a burden of responsibility in trying to carry the thing that is a blessing. There's a burden that comes with it. Before a blessing is born, a burden is carried. And you carry it as a burden, and then you bless it. You carry it out. And the question is, can you stand to be blessed? Can you stand to be blessed? Whatever it is, can you stand to be blessed? Can you stand to be blessed? Because if you get in a blessed position and people will say, you know how she got the job. She done slept her way there. And then they will accuse you of things that are not even true. And the question is, can you stand to be blessed? Can you stand? Because there is a cost of discipleship. The question is, are you willing to pay that price? Jesus talked about that when he said to us in Matthew chapter 16, verse 24 through 26, Jesus said to his disciples, if any of you wants to be my follower, you must give up your own way. You must give up your own way. You must give up your own way. Did I mention that you must give up your own way? Take up your cross and follow me. And if you try to hang on to your life, you'll lose it. But if you give up your life for my sake, you'll save it. And what do you benefit if you gain the whole world but lose your own soul? Is anything worth more than your soul? I meant lying and cheating and scheming and manipulating and finagling to be able to get a big house and cars and jewelry and all of that. Is that really worth your soul? Would you compromise your integrity, your character, at the expense of your soul? Can you afford the cost of it? And let me just remind you, there are no shortcuts to any place worth going. There are no shortcuts to any place worth going. Can you afford the cost of what it means to be a disciple of Jesus Christ? Jesus said to us in so many words, you must give up the lower level of life if you want the higher level. That's all that he's saying. He's not just saying, that I want you to literally die, but he's saying, I want you to give up your way, give up the lower level of life in order to gain the higher level. You got to give up how you've been doing things if you want to be able to have the best way. You got to give up your way, the lower way, if you want the higher way. You can't get the higher way while you still got the lower way. If you want the new shoes, you got to pull off the old shoes. That's all he's saying to us. You got to take off what you've been walking in if you want to walk in a better way. That's all he's saying. You got to be willing to give up the low life if you want to be able to have the high life, my high life. That's all he's saying to us. And I want you to realize that God has tools to help process you and to fashion you, because he's like the master potter. He's like an artisan who is fashioning a work of art. And God uses various tools on us. He talks